Okay, well, let's get started. Hopefully the liftoff is not too loud because if I remember, that used to be loud. So let's give it a try and see you on the next side. Kick off that stream. Hello, everybody. Welcome on the stream. I hope you can hear me. I changed my settings today. That's why I'm rocking the headset. I'm Frank, and today we're playing with biceps. I want to share a few things early in the stream. So I post a blog post about how to deploy a zip deploy, an Azure function. That's all because I'm working offline on the URL shortener, I fixed the deployment we'll be using zip deploy, so I will tell you more in a few seconds about that. And since I'm using ARM, and it's not better because it's just different. Like behind the scene, the biceps, the new thing is creating an ARM template, but bicep is a little bit more human friendly. So I thought it could be nice to work on a template, so everybody could just like in a few comments do that. I have something that is running, so I think I want to bring it to that repo. We'll test it, we'll explain how it works, and we'll try to make a PR on the official repo to add that template, that Azure function template with a zip deployment in there. So that's the plan of today's stream. So hopefully you like that. Feel free to ask any questions. It's a safe place. We're just here to have fun, chill. And I really hope everybody can hear me because otherwise I said everything for nothing. So this morning. Yesterday? Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it's yesterday. Yesterday, I shared some blog posts and video that are related to this. Let me do something here. Add that at the same time to the note. I think it's note. Voila. Sharing the link in the chat. So that's a repo. It's a zip deploy Azure function. I was trying to be smart with the name, so I shouldn't use capital letters on GitHub. Anyway, it's done. What it's done is done. I still need to work on that. Like there's no about, it's a work in progress, right? That's open source. So what I did is, like, this is really paired with the video and the blog post. You can see the link to the blog post here. So let's open that. And the YouTube video is here. I created a little animated GIF just for fun. Bonjour, hi. Bonjour, hi. Am I wearing? No, it's not the same hoodie. Whew. At least, not the same t-shirt, not the same hoodie. I have more than one, people. Yes. So let me share in the chat also if you're interested just to watch this. It's a 9-minute video. I explain everything, but I just want to pass through the blog post. So kind of explain what it is because it's the foundation of what we'll be working on today. So in this post, why not, right? Let's put the post also if you want to follow in your screen or if you're watching on the archive on YouTube. I should stream both. Maybe I should do that. Anyway, instead of archiving, just like streaming both places. We'll see later. So this was really, I was trying to work on the URL shortener. Different project. We won't work on the URL shortener today. I thought we could, but then I thought it could be more interesting to make a template and talk about like biceps and talk about the Azure CLI and like why it's cool and all those things. So I explain what is a zip deploy here, like the difference between this and a CI/CD. Could be part of it, could replace it, a manual part. And I think for the URL shortener, it's perfect because I want everybody to deploy that thing very easily. It's not like my part of my pipeline, deployment pipeline. It's like, hey, just like click here and it will drop that thing that I manage. So like people don't have to compile and do stuff on their side. So that's why I really thought zip deploy was a great solution. If it's your solution for your business, you're probably more going for having the zip deploy part of a bigger and more complex pipeline. So that's kind of like, in like very few words, that's what I'm trying to explain here. And then I explained how to package it because I'm working on .NET. I'm a .NET developer. I play with other languages from time to time. You can zip deploy is not just for .NET, it's for any languages. The particularity with .NET is because it's compiled, you need to have all the dependencies. So in my sample, in the code, I have dependencies bogus, a package that generate data. So what I say is like, hey, don't do this like with the folder, it won't work. Instead, go in the folder, and I explain like how to package correctly so when it go on the other side, it deploy really fast. Another advantage of the zip deploy, it's often used part of a more complex pipeline as like the last step to deploy, just like it's faster because it's just compact, less data to go up in the cloud, and then it just unzip on the other side. There is no compilation. Compilation is it in English? How we say that? What? Oh, that's so cool. Hey, TBD, welcome aboard. 26. Oh wait, I'm assuming you have a hat. Ah, that's awesome. Super exciting. Hello, hello. Bonjour, hi everybody. That's so cool. Thank you for the follow. D-Flow Streams. Yellow. My music was way up. Ah, okay, earlier I was doing test and apparently I thought it was high, but so I'm happy you say that. Let's go lower. My mic could be maybe better. Should I raise it? Is my voice volume okay? I'm trying a new setup today, so like perfect timing. Please help me to fix all my issues. Maybe that was a trap. I don't know. I lower the volume as you say it. Hey, thank you for the follow. I am Merlin. Really appreciate it. There's a lot. Yeah. Well, I bought during the holiday Streamer X. Okay, so now everything is piped in there, mixed there, and like, but I was not using it really until this morning. Well, not even there. I'm not using it really. Now I can do it.
Like, hey, hello, what?
But yeah, need to customize it. It's all by default still. But you know, that's great. Anyway, so I'm just sharing today the plan. Oh, let's move the mouse again. Using a 2 PC setup. Voila. So I'm just sharing this week, yesterday in fact, I share a blog post and a video about how to zip deploy an Azure function using AZD Template. So having like a one-click deployment from anywhere. It could be your blog, it could be a GitHub repo and stuff like that when you want others to try your solution. So it could be very simple. That person deploying your solution doesn't need to make like a GitHub action, doesn't need to download it and do some command. sometimes we want all that because they say, hey, clone the repo and like do stuff, but sometimes we don't. And behind the scene, I'm working on the URL shortener. So it's a tool that we create on this stream that creates short URL. And I was trying to fix the deployment, and I was like, it's not working. And then I was you know what? Let's go and do a zip deployment. I think it will be faster and easier for the user. So doing so, I encountered a few issues, and I thought, you know, if I'm having trouble, maybe others. So let's try to share my knowledge, all the gotcha and stuff. So I did the repo. I can share the URL again here. Boom. Oops. The chat didn't scroll. We had to deploy, but no one knew how to do it. Wow. So I create a blog post and also have a video to explain. I go a little bit in the details in the blog post because in .NET, the zip deploy works with every language. That was about where I was, where you joined TBD. Oh, by the way, TBD, what were you working on? Maybe you're... It terrifies you? Come on. Don't be terrified. Agile platform adding the concept project. Ah, cool, cool, cool. I need to work on some .NET pattern tutorial next week. Bicep is awesome. I just like playing with Bicep. I learned that a few weeks ago. I was working on a different template for Microsoft, and I kind of I know about Bicep, what it is, but I never took the time. Let's put it that way. Never took the time to really do something with it. So a few weeks ago, I had to work on a project for Microsoft. I did GitHub. Symbols. Oops. Will I be able to do it there? Yes. So I worked on that, on the samples. So in .NET, it's a cool few sample, really, really basic to have fun with. Yeah, no problem, TBD. See you next time. Or like lurking, so meaning like if I yell your name, you may come back. But yeah, so I work on this super cool example, and I learned biceps or using biceps to deploy and the Azure developer CLI. Did you know about that, Shy Programmer? Really, really cool. To use it, you just have to do AZD up or AZD init, and you have it. So for example, if I open a terminal, the other screen, please. Let's go cd dev local. What do we have here? Okay, let's make a directory. Let's do AI samples. I want to show you that because that's what I want to work today, but for that AZ function. So that, you know, I thought it could be cool. So let's go there then. Okay, let's clear the screen. Well, okay. So with Azure Developer CLI, when you have a template, and we want to work on a template today, what you can do is do AZD. So that's for Azure Developer CLI. And then you can initialize. If you just do AZD in it, it will ask you a few things. Hey, do you want to use a template? Do you want me to look into your code? So like if you already have your solution and you want to create a template, or you want to create like something, it will really help you. And what AZD, oh, that's cool. And there's some AI in my terminal and it works, yay. And then doing that is the same as saying clone that GitHub repo. So it will go fetch the GitHub repo and initialize your folder. I will do that, and then it will ask me for environment, I think. So it download the file. So it create the Azure YAML file. We'll have a look into that. It initialize the Git repository and it download the template from the code to this folder. So what you want to have a name, so let's say cloud 5 minutes. Cool. So now if I list the file, you can see here I have like a source file, Azure YAML, and like I have all those things. Meeting, so probably don't say anything. Yeah, happy to have you cool. Thank you for showing up, Shirley Dev. Sorry, Dev. I'm having so much trouble saying your name correctly. I'm very sorry. I appreciate you, buddy. Let's do some. Not here. I want to drop here. Okay, so if we continue with this, let's open it in Visual Studio Code just to see a little bit more. That's what we want to work on today. I think I should go full screen. So, now the chat is hiding the. If I go here, the chat is in the other corner. I'm hiding it. So we had the Azure YAML file that was created. And that was just creating some basic temp stuff. Who landed? Called by mistake, and sorry, Dev landed. Excellent, sir. Today's a really good day for a landing, by the way. I landed on the first try. 69. Pretty good score. I think it was 69. And like now, Shirley Dev is also landing. Pretty cool. It also, so when you initialize, it also create that .azure folder, and here you will have some configuration. So right now it shouldn't have anything special except the name. Yay! Right? And that will be used because you could have multiple environment. And while we have all that, friend, I'm getting to that. I just want to show, or maybe I shouldn't show. Let's. I cannot run it because it will show a lot of private information. But the beauty of it now that you have those files that will show you is when you are in the terminal, you could just do AZD and up, and it will go and will create all the resources in your Azure Biceps template and create everything in Azure. And in this solution, what I did is I also had like a script, a pus script, and then it will take the keys of the Azure resources, because this is for AI, right? So I'm playing with Azure. Why I have a blank? Yep, I will explain. Good question, shy programmer. Those are simple with Azure OpenAI. I was like, wow, what's the name of the AI stuff again? Frank, more coffee, more coffee. Do I have coffee? I don't have any more coffee. Oh la la, it will be a hard stream, people. Cloudies. Yeah, so it will create the resource, and because if you did try, or maybe you didn't, but like the OpenAPI, Azure OpenAPI or OpenAPI, they are mostly the same thing. It's APIs, right? So it works with keys. So instead of having you going there, taking the keys, pasting into the code, what I do at the end of the AZD up is I have a script that do that for you and creates the local secret. So you just have, after that, you do AZD up, you wait for about a minute and a half, and then you go on the example you want to try and just do .NET run and it will work. So that's the beauty of having the template. AZD could do a lot of stuff for you. So question, Shy programmers say, what was the C5M? I don't quite understand that yet. Okay, cool. So C5M is for cloud 5 minutes. It's my thing. Everything is cloud related. Here, I call this behind my cloud. So I do a lot of like Azure and cloud content. Not a lot. That's what I do. I'm always talking about something Azure related or close by. Who landed? Jeff's hat landed. Congrats. Oh, with close to 80 on undefined process. So many landing today. Pretty cool. So cloud 5 minutes is the name of my domain. That's most of the time what I use to just tell myself, hey, it's my stuff. It's not like official or it's like for the community and things like that. That's why I use C5M. Usually what you will find here when you create environment will be dev, QA, test, prod, and you have different environments. So when you deploy all the variables, so when you do AZD up, you should give it a try. Like if you go try that command here, let me paste that in the chat. You need an Azure subscription for that. But you can try it. And if you don't run the code, it won't cost you anything. Like you just like do this and you will see the question and ask. And then you could try the sample. I think it will may cost you like 25 cents. If you are a student, you have an Azure subscription for free, so you should leverage that, and it will cost you nothing. Like it will be a few cents of consumption, and then when you're done, what you do is you do AZD and down, and that will remove everything you have. But those environments, the beauty of it is when you run it, it will keep here different environments. So I shouldn't have put C5M, should have put like dev, or yeah, dev, that's a good name. And then it will save here in the environment my configuration. So like, what's the Azure subscription I'm using? What's the name of the app? What's the connection string of that? Whatever you need to specify when deploying, what's customizable, if I would say, it will keep that. So then when you want to delete that, update, change, get a connection string, something like that, you will have that by environment. So like the same template, that's why you create a template, right? It's to have it deployed in multiple environment. So we'll keep that here for you. So C5M, it should have been something smarter, like dev, prod, test, QA, whatever. But yeah. Okay, what I missed again was this. Like I said, I'm very new to it. No problem, like there's no wrong question, Shy Programmer. It's a friendly place here. Place to learn. A lot of the time when I stream, I have no idea what I'm about to do, and I'm kind of like just learning as we go to prove that even if you have 20 years of experience, you can still learn. It should be fun. It won't work on the first try, and how to make it so you can pass through any walls. That's kind of like why I'm streaming. And also sometimes I share the behind the scene. That's why it's called Behind My Cloud, because you will see me on YouTube or like maybe on stage or whatever doing a presentation. Everything looks smooth and it just like you know, like a hot knife in butter, just kind of look. You know how many times I practice and I polish and fine-tune those samples so it works everything correctly. So I want to share that. In real life, nobody is a human compiler. Well, like I'm guessing it's not true. Nobody. Some are, but I'm not. And you could have a great life, be awesome programmer, very helpful, very impactful in your work without all that. I want to share that. Yeah, because I like learning also. Yeah, cool. Well, like you said, you're no longer at school. Okay. Eventually, what we want to do is having the template. So like in this template, like we're having in the quick start, we have the Azure OpenAI SDK, and we have the semantic kernel samples, and we want to have some local, so people could try it, run it locally. It will get slower because nobody has like a super machine. If you have a gamer machine, then you're lucky because a lot of AI these days use a GPU. But if you just have like a regular machine, it may be a little bit slower, but then it's local. You have no more extra costs going into a cloud or like OpenAI, so paying for that. Undefined process is really lucky, landed again. So yeah, so that's the beauty of it. And it works. So that was the code, because I'm deploying the structure, and in this sample, so that was AI simple. Let's close that. Let's close this, and we'll be working today on this guy. So it's to deploy an Azure function into the cloud. I did it using ARM template. ARM template, it looked kind of like a JSON document. It's not really JSON. I think it's JSON base team code. No, that's not the one I want. So here is the AZ deploy, the repo I was showing. There is it. It is. So let's see, like it's the same thing. In there, I have the source code, source code. And if you think I have a funny accent, I speak French usually. That's why. Streaming is also for me a practice, because if I don't practice my English, then I will forget about it. That's why also I'm doing that. So let's go in the other corner since I'm sharing this part. So I have the code here. So it's a very simple Azure function. An Azure function is serverless or on-demand APIs. It could be many different things. That's not true. It's not API. It's code on demand. So it could be triggered by different event. And now, in this specific example, I'm using an HTTP request event. So it's an HTTP trigger. And it was just a very simple demo to show some particularities. I'm using Bogus. That's a .NET package to generate stuff. And what it does, it just return 20 adventure. It generates 20 adventure. So I had a class here, adventure, with a name, a class, a level. And in it, I have like say, hey, create fake adventure, like full name, I specify. The class should be pick random between warrior, mage, rogue, and cleric. And random level is a random number between 1 and 100. Oh, thank you, Shy Programmer, saying my English accent is good. The difference maybe is I'm not from France, so I'm from Canada. So I think that could be one of the difference. I know the French people from France, they speak with a very thick accent in terms of, like they have that French accent from France, but I probably have a French accent from Canada, and that's maybe you're less used to, and that's why. But I definitely have a strong accent. But thank you. So that's the sample here. And the reason why I did that, I could just have say hello from like an hello word kind of type. But what I wanted to show is in .NET, it's a compile language, right? So you need to package the dependencies. And that's why I did this example here, because I'm using the library bogus, so it's a package. And for that, you need to include the dependencies in your zip file that you will be deploying. So if you're using Node, you will have also to do like a packaging your zip file with the dependencies. So depending on what are the language, you have to compile and everything, but the dependencies need to be included in your zip file. So in the blog post earlier, say, hey, like don't do this way, do it this way, because if you zip the folder, it won't work. Hey, no problem, Shy Programmer. It was nice to meet you, and don't hesitate, come back. It's not always Azure. We're doing a bunch of stuff. Sometimes we're creating games, a bunch of other projects. So, okay. So for this sample, so like I went over what the function does, but we don't really care really when we build the sample. The idea is having people set up the infrastructure, and then they will probably delete the Azure function and put their Azure function. But I just want to put one Azure function kind of to show, hey, this is where you put your code for the Azure function, if it makes sense. In half an hour, I will still be there. I should be there for at least 1 hour and a half more. My time is now, it's 9:45, and I'm thinking about streaming until 11. See you later, sir. So probably 5 hours ahead if I Dutch. I'm assuming, is it 5 or 6? So yeah. So in this repo here, I have cloud, but I put the function the src. So for source folder, I've created a folder doc with images just to put some documentation related to this repo. So usually you don't need that. And then there's the deployment thing that I put here. Right now, there's the ARM template. And that's why I was saying, like, it really look like, why does that? An ARM template really look like JSON, but it's not JSON. But yeah, that's what it does. I explained that in the blog post. That's cool, but a lot of people these days are using biceps, and the Azure Developer CLI, the AZD, also use biceps. I thought it would be cool to create bicep and deploy the same Azure function using biceps. So that's the stream of today. I want to bring that, have some samples, so we'll bring that here, we'll test it, we'll explain it, and we'll try to create a PR, pull request, on the official Microsoft project to add this template to the list of the template. And along the way, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Okay. So, now we have all that. We should create a new branch. And by the way, I'm on Linux, I'm on Ubuntu. Yes, this PC is Ubuntu. And I'm using VS Code. And you will see some from time to time. This tool here, this is GitKraken. I love GitKraken. I'm a GitKraken ambassador. I think it's a fantastic tool. They have a terminal. They have a new web page that I need to get more into it. And I wish Fritz was here, but Fritz, that's what I was talking. So you have the focus view where you can see like many different repo and like the result and like PRs and all those things. You have workspace. So if I go behind my cloud, that's all the repo that I work on stream. I could see all the pull requests across all the different. I didn't have all repository clone on this machine, but I will see like all the PR, all the issue, all of the things. So like this is all the repo. You can see all the pull requests. You could have some insights. I'm alone and I don't work all the time on all the projects, so insights are pretty low. But you could have like more insights, and they have a version of that online. Can I go there and show? I feel like I'm procrastinating today, but I'm just curious. It's been a while since I went there. I think it's that, yeah. It's in preview. Okay, I'm not signing in. Let's go secret for now. Oh. Just trying to see if I can show you stuff online. So show me the focus mode. Okay, let's unzoom a little bit. Let's show you. Oh, hello, buddy. I love that. Their mascot, super cool. Yeah, so I didn't customize everything, but now they have like a online version, and you can have different teams, and you have different maybe in the workspace. Also, all this time my workspace. I know they plan to change that. This is in preview. Like they keep putting more stuff in it. Maybe I should. Yeah, no pull requests. I didn't have any issues. Here. Anyway, I will have to play. I have different account and stuff, but it's pretty cool. I use a lot the desktop version of it. The online version was released earlier this year. Was it shared in February? It was in GitCon. They shared that. Pretty cool tool. Big fan of this. They're super fast. Also, like on Linux, I'm on Linux right now, right? And at the last release, I think, for my PC at least, I cannot maximize. So I just like open a ticket. I think in a day it was fixed. It will be push in the next release. So they're very, very responsive. Like they're amazing. But today we're working here. I want to go back to my profile, and we're working in zip deploy. So we want to create a new branch. My sound is weird. My sound was weird. It's come and goes. Is it doing that for you too? Anyway. So let's create a new branch. Create new branch. Biceps, add bicep. Cool. So we have that. And I want to bring, so this is another project I was learning, like really learning AZD and like try to understand. And I had mostly the same thing where I had like an Azure function. I think I was doing them, yeah, different things. Was playing with a little bit more advanced stuff. Like I said, getting closer to what I need for the URL shortener we worked on. But I had the same thoughts, and what I want to bring here is that infra folder, because that's where the template is. And I'm guessing the Azure YAML. But here I use the starter. Okay, so how do I do that? I think I will just open two browsers like this. We'll go dev. This is tiny. That's better. Okay. We'll go in dev, GitHub. So my source is here, and the destination is here. And I have two accounts, by the way. If you're new here, I have two accounts because sometime when I work on Microsoft repo, if I go as me, then I'm not allowed because I need to be on the Microsoft device. And since I'm streaming, I don't do that on the Microsoft device. So that's why I created that other account, F. Busheros, without any privilege, but then I could create issues and like see PR and things like that. So the project is zip deploy function, and from learn to here, I want to bring the infra. I want to bring this. That could be cool too, but I won't bring that for now. I think we're good if we bring just those two. Let's keep the folder open. And I think now I could minimize that. Whoops. Let's this one. No. This. Voila! There we are. Okay. Are you ready? Let's rumble. Okay. So we don't need this anymore. In here, the name of the application will be should we go for zip deploy AZ Funk to be consistent? Because we're working to create that template, right? So infra, let's go over infra. So we're talking about biceps, and biceps is really cool. It can be used in many different things. So it's an infrastructure as code language, meaning it will create the infrastructure you need in different. It's really close to Terraform, and AZD also support Terraform, but I don't know Terraform. Maybe I should learn Terraform, but I decided to go with biceps because biceps work really great on Azure. Terraform worked also great, but anyway, I wanted to learn that biceps. So the way it works, it's by module. Everything is by module, but it will always start by main. So it starts by there. Let's maximize here. I'm just tall. I cannot even hide the README. That's wonderful. Beep, beep. Just vanish. Okay, cool. Right. Distracted. Maybe it's too much coffee. Not enough. Too much. Oh my god.
Drop now! Don't drop the banana!
No.
Good source of potassium!
Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so it starts by main, and you could have parameters with the main. Let's go huge here. So you could have, so it always start by main.biceps, that's the main file, and then you can specify main parameters. have like there's other files, and as we go through the template, we'll explain why they're there and what they do. So let's go back to normal view. So in this biceps template, there's different parameters, but I pre-fill some. The environment will come with the Azure environment name, and the location will be the Azure location. Just try to kind of ease the process, so you can override those with what you want, but I'm just trying to make it easier, not to ask like 10,000 questions to deploy a simple thing. So let's go back to the main biceps file. I know it feels like there's a lot of code. I will try to explain everything. Maybe I should put more comment in there too. So the scope is subscription. You could have different scope, and when you work with biceps, if you're trying to deploy a resource by itself, it will say, hey, like it doesn't work, it needs to have something else. So you need, if it's not a module and it's not running in its own file, you need the target, different target. So where are you deploying that? So here, the main is target scope is subscription. This way I could deploy a resource group. Resource group is like thinking about like a big bag where you put all your resource in it. The beauty of it is when you want to delete stuff, you just say, hey, delete the bag. It's just like everything vanish. And after that, the first parameter is environment name, and you can specify, is it big enough? Let's go a little bit bigger. So you could specify the min, the max, description, so that will show up in the environment when people are using your template. And then I say, hey, location. I let people pick their location. And the beauty of it, when you're using AZD, it will show you what's available. So you have a list, so you don't need to, want this, kind of a drop-down thing. After that, I say, hey, what is the function app name? Because here we're deploying an Azure function. And when we think about Azure function, we say Azure function, but in fact it's Azure function app. So that's kind of the container. And after that, you have function in it, like your API methods, like the get, whatever, post, and like I say, those are functions. But the wrapper, what we deploy first is that function app. Also, I say, hey, function app name. So I'm expecting this. I could have, say, like min, max, and put stuff. I didn't. Could be better. This is just a template. So I thought, I want to leave freedom to people, but I should put something like this at least. You know what? Why not? Let's do it. After that, hey, Triple B, wait a minute. I've reported the stream to... You know what, the other day, last Friday, I think on Clarkio stream, I was saying that I'm very lucky because on my stream I never had any troll, and I think the one person who caused me the most trouble is my moderator.
Bonjour. Hi.
Hey, bonjour, mister. How are you? Bald builder bidder. Oh, I think I have a shout out, right? Oh, let me do that. Did you manage to do all your let's go and try this. Will it work? Yes. Check out this channel. He's an awesome streamer. Streaming kind of like every day now. It's pretty cool. Exactly. That's what I did with you, my friend. I wish I was leaving closer so I could knock at your door and just like chill and chat. Yeah, so he's streaming mostly every day now, kind of like co-working. So like he will be working and then like pause, chit chat with us. He's working on a bunch of different video these days about .NET. I think yesterday you wrote script about, no, I know you wrote script about the record type of .NET, but it was the second one and you had 3 in mind. So like, he's a working beast machine. Yeah, so nice to have you. Welcome. Welcome behind my cloud. Trying my new setup. I'm rocking the headset because I wanted to make sure the sound was okay. I bought during the holiday Rode X Streamer X from Rode, and I was not really using it. But it's still all default, you know.
Welcome, Autobots. That's what I can do.
I can beat myself also. Yeah. I think there's music and a few things. But I was not using it, and this morning I was, let's try to pipe it. So now all the sounds are mixed in that. It's a physical box. So now it's all mixed there, and it comes just like one entry in my OBS. So this morning I was trying to set up the volumes and things. It's because I have a new mic, and this mic uses how do you call that? HC, like, you know, the big plug, not like a regular USB or a tiny one. So I needed something. Yes, XLR. Thank you. You know that because you have some musician roots, right? Quite professional. This is also record stuff. Yes, I use it also to record stuff at work. Fun fact, a lot of people think that all of that was paid by my job. No, nothing. Is it true? One mic that I don't use, it's over there. It's you know, the long mic. How do you call that again? Forgot. It's a type of mic that was paid by the office, but that's the only thing. I used to do a lot of videos before joining this job. In fact, that's how they found me, I think. Oh, I was still like a MVP, so like I think I was close to Microsoft, but I was doing all videos and everything. That was my way to talk to my clients, because if you say to your clients, hey, you should use biceps and do this, and those security practices, they say, yeah, but they don't do anything. But then if you do a video and put it on YouTube and say, hey, you should watch that video, then it's on YouTube, so it's true. So they were following it. So I had a lot of equipment already, but I've been doing that for a lot of years now. So I have a lot of equipment, but it just many years. How long I've been doing that? I won't show because I started in French, so I won't show. I don't want to go in studio necessarily. If I go YouTube, I'm curious. When did I start? Six years ago, and that was not the first one. That was kind of when I switched to English. So it's probably 7 years ago when I start doing videos. Let me try to bring you. Let's check. I'm curious now. 7 years ago. Could it be that long? Wrong password. Probably ask me, so yeah. Two-factor authentication. I don't go usually, yes, it's me. It's a me, Mario. Cool. So I want to go. No, I want to go the last. Oh, why can I not? Why? That's weird. It scrolled this, but it doesn't scroll the page. So I'm guessing if I go smaller. I would like to go at the end. Why don't you let me go to the end? That's weird. Okay, let's go with 50 and go Bing. All that to see the date when I started. Ah, there it is. That's the last. So the first video I did in 2013. So 10 years ago. Oh my god. 10 years ago, that was my first video, and I really start like every second week in 2017. Because I was doing that in French initially on my YouTube channel, and then at some point Microsoft reached out and was like, "Hey, your video will look pretty cool, but we don't understand what you're saying. Would you mind putting subtitles?" Like, yeah, I can do that. Then realize it was a lot of work. Creating subtitles. So I was like, oh, can I make automation? So I did a video about me. We're talking 10 years ago, right? Said like 17, so not exactly 10 years. But I used Logic app, and every time I was dropping a file, I was using Azure services to get the text translated in English and then generate subtitle things. And I did that in a video to show how it's done, and then I tried to use it. But because when I speak in French, I will say biceps and I will say publish. Those are not, or like low balancer, those are not French words. But even when I speak French, that's the word we use. So it was kind of Franglish, right? It was a mix of French and English. So the computer was not great at translating those because it was always mixing. Is it in French? Is it in English? So I decided at some point that, oh, you know what? I will do one video in English, one video in French. So I was recording both. Just like, okay, doing the demo in English, then resetting the environment, moving the file on the side, starting again in French, doing that, publishing, and publishing the two videos on the same channel. Then YouTube was mixed up. And I think it was the audience, because for people who don't speak French, I think for people who speak French, most of the time we kind of understand English, but we're not comfortable or not fast enough to understand everything. That's why I'm always slow on other stream. Because I was like, what are you saying? I'm trying to say something. So anyway, so I felt there was a lot of noise for YouTube. It was like not the algorithm was showing my video in French to like the subscriber people, and subscriber were like, what is that? It's in French. I'm not interested. So people were not watching the video. So I split and I created a second channel in French. At that point, both channel went up, and I had more subscribers to those two because I was afraid had so little subscriber. Well, I've always been very careful to like the followers and the subscribers and people who reached out, the community. So I won't delete any, and that's why we could see on my main channel everything was there, because in case someone bookmark that video, or maybe I using it in a blog post or something like that. So I will keep them but unlisted, but I upload them again all on the new channel. So I have 3 channels now. I have Cloud in 5, the F. Bouchereau's my main one. I have a Cloud en Français, and I have a third one that I use just for archiving. But I feel now I should both stream. So, Triple B, are you still there? Are you streaming now? I know Clark here is doing that. He's streaming on Twitch and YouTube. Are you streaming on YouTube too? Maybe I should do that. But right now I have like a third channel called Behind My Cloud. That's where all the archives. So I have my main one, F. Bouchereau's. I have the one in French, Cloud en Français, right? All the video will be in French. I work with MVPs in French, doing different things and stuff. And I have Behind My Cloud, it's 99.9% the Twitch stream. Behind Cloud. I don't think I have enough. I don't think I have enough subscriber. Do I have my name? I did a typo? Whatever. That's the channel. Yeah, just on like 125 subscriber. But this is where I archive all the stream, just because I thought that sometimes there's really cool stuff in our streams, even like if you're like you want to skip through this, and I think at some point I put, hey, here Clark here. I think at some point I did 1 or 2 video. Maybe if I go in videos, no, I don't want to see it. Anyway, oh yeah, I think at some point I published some video about doing something because it was not. Yeah, I think here was Docker. I shared that here instead of my main channel because it was not Azure. I should have done it on the other. Anyway, but yeah, that's why I have 2 channels, and I use that also to record stuff at my job. And I record a lot of stuff. The other day, someone asked me, hey, how many video did you do? So I don't know. That's too many. It's a few hundreds since I started Microsoft. Okay, so back to biceps. Yeah.
Previously on Frank's channel.
Exactly. Let's go back to the work. Thanks, Jeff. So biceps, right? We're trying to create a template to deploy an Azure function in a zip deployment. So it's a good practice to have suffix and prefix and all those when you're naming your resources, and instead of like thinking about, oh, I should put this or blah blah blah. So the team has created an abbreviation file. This is hard to say. So it's here. It's a JSON document with just like everything they could think about and some abbreviation, right? Like a web server plan will be plan dash, and like a website app service will be app, and a function site will be func. All of those, right? So if you're deploying, you could say function app. So that would be, I don't know, like Frank, and then you will have like your func dash Frank, app dash Frank, plan that Frank. So like, you know, those are different components, even if you just list the resources without any types, and you know they are related to Frank app. Maybe Frank is not a good app, but to your app, because they are this, and then to be unique, because like, for example, the URL shortener, a lot of people are deploying it. It's better to have a suffix, so you could create a token, and I'm creating that pretty sure later on. So, but yeah, so the way you do it is you load the content of the JSON. So that's a function from Biceps. You could say, hey, take that file, keep it in memory, right, in the variable ABBRS. And then when you use it, you could just say, when you declare a name, you could say, hey, for example, here the service plan, say, hey, abbreviation web server farm, so that will be plan, right? And I say app name, and I use the resource token. I'll show you this, because we want the name to be unique. Some name needs to be unique because they are exposed to the web. So if someone is deploying the Azure URL shortener and call it, I don't know, URL shortener, and then I do it too, and like Gainior is doing too, then like there's 3 names, so it cannot happen. So like having a resource token is something that will be unique. The way I do that here is just like say, hey, lowercase, and I say, give me a unique string from the subscription ID and the environment and the location. So even if you're having the same resource deployed in different environment or different and the same subscription, but you have, I don't know, like your dev, QA, and prod, like that token will be unique. So even there, you won't have any conflict in your own Azure subscription. So like that's why I'm doing it. So like it will be a few character with that. So the unique string, does it say how long it is? 13 characters long. I could have set it shorter, but anyway, 13 characters long. If we go up, so that was just to make sure, tags. It's a good thing to always use tags. I usually, in the tags, I could have done it, but I didn't want to push too much on like other people. But my best practices, I will always have the owner and an expiration date. It doesn't do anything. It's just like you could then run a query that say, hey, give me all the resources that are expired, right? That doesn't have a date. They don't turn bad. It's just like kind of a tag. And if you, I don't know, you say 2 years ago, yeah, this is just good for 1 month, because after that, like I will be done with this trial or whatever. Still have it today. It's like, whoa, this thing expires for 2 years. Oh, I should delete that. Like it helps you to delete. Or like having a owner is just like, what is that? Like, what does it do? And like you're afraid to delete it because someone may have put like, not when it's your personal subscription, but like for a business. So having that, like, oh, like I need to go ask Frank about this project. And you go and say, Frank, what is this project? And Frank will say, I don't remember. I cannot be the only one, right? Times go so fast. So like, you asked me what I did 1 month ago, and I feel like it's a million years ago. Am I the only one? Be honest. Cool. So already talk about generating the unique token. Very useful. You should definitely put that. The reason why I put to lower is, for example, for Azure storage, it needs to be to lower character. So I decided, you know what, let's lower the token. I know that doing that, my token is a little bit less unique, but at least doing that, I know that it will work everywhere in my subscription. Now, is it because I'm touching the cable? Why? Sometimes the sound stop in my headset. So yeah, that's why I do that. So I reduce a little bit the uniqueness, if it's a word, of my token, but then I know it will work everywhere. I prefer it works everywhere. After that, I have a few variables, function app, storage name, and package URI, because in this template, remember, we're trying to deploy a zip package. We're doing a zip deploy. So the reason why, again, just to make clear, the reason why I just don't take the app name that people are sending is to make sure they follow the best practices and they are unique. So that's why I say function name. That's weird. I wish I could show you. So on my other screen, I have the chat. Like all the right side of the screen is the chat. And I think it's OneDrive on that PC. And every day it kind of like say, hey, like a souvenir from the past, and showing you pictures. So like it kind of like a kind of a toaster, but from the side, you know, from getting in the screen in the right corner. But it was me in a picture doing kind of like, eh? So it looked like I came out of my screen just like, eh, hello? It was weird. Anyway, so that's why I say function name, and then I say, hey, add func app name, and then my resource token. That's why I know it will have the suffix, and it will have the prefix, and it will still have the function name that the person wanted. One problem here, for example, for storage account, have limitation on the how long it is. So what I do here is I do a substring, and I say, hey, depending on the length of that app name, take the full, let's say the app name is super short, take the full app name, or if it's super long, just like trim it. So like I use the full token, and it kind of match. And after that, the package URI is, and in this case, in this example, the way we're doing it is like a URL from a release on GitHub, right? If I go back, do I still have the GitHub repo open? Yeah. So this is the repo. We'll just put it back in the chat if you just joined us. So that's the repo we're trying to add the biceps, and I want to the biceps template, and we'll transform that. Hopefully, maybe not. I will use that to create a template for the official template of biceps and Azure Developer CLI, AZD. So in this repo, we're using here the release. I thought it was a height, like that's why I was like, I thought I was in the way. But I'm using the release. So if you go in release and you have the package here, so that link here, that's what we will be deploying into Azure. So the biceps will create the infrastructure, create storage and the plan and the function app and stuff like that. And then we take that zip, uploading it into Azure, and then we'll get decompress, and our function will have the code, and then we'll be able to run those APIs. So in my template, to make it clear, I could also pass it as a parameter, but I thought it was more painful than having it at the top. That's why I'm doing it here. Because otherwise, when you deploy, you always have to have the URL handy. And I felt like, you know what, since this is they're trying to deploy the same thing over and over, it makes more sense to have it as a variable that you just customize. That's the beauty of like an ARM template. You could customize it if you want, so it doesn't need to be a variable. It could be a parameter. It could be hard-coded in the value, but then I thought it was like it could be down below, so I thought it would be easier to having it here. After that, I like to have two empty space between my module. I think they call that module, right? I think it's module they call it. After that, because we are in the main, and remember the scope here is subscription, the first will be a resource group, because a resource group will be deployed inside your subscription and everything. So no, that's one. See, that one is a resource. That one is a resource. I'm deploying a resource because I'm in my subscription. Okay, so I create that resource, give it a name. Again, same thing. I didn't create a variable for that one, but I'm creating the resource group. I say the location will be the same as the location provided. I push the tag, so that will create our resource group. And after that, let's say I'm creating that service plan, because to have an Azure function, you need to have a service plan. Minimum, you have to have a service plan and storage. It's really good to have also analytics, but it's not mandatory. Like the mandatory are storage and service plan. I think that's it. And obviously the function app. This template followed the best practices, so there's way more, but it's not costly, but just like better structure to have analytics and stuff. So here the service plan, so I say, hey, this is a module, meaning it will be defined in another file, and you specify the scope. So the scope is really useful because you say, now you're not deploying that in my subscription. Obviously it is, but you say, hey, I want you to deploy that in my RG. What's RG? It's the module here. It's resource group. The name, that's how you refer to it inside your ARM template. Doesn't affect your Azure resources, app service plan. So that's why here we could, RG, I could say resource group. Maybe it will be clear. I thought RG, I know. Maybe I should put resource group. And the name, so then after that, because it's a module, the module is a file, it's another biceps file that get parameters, right? So we have different parameters. So I have the name, the location, it's expecting an object SKU, and in it, I have this. And this one, the way I did it is for a service plan, Windows service plan. There are some differences between a Linux and a Windows service plan. And I was having a lot of trouble deploying it by code on Linux. And I don't think for the type of stuff, like I'm in .NET anyway, I don't think it changed anything. So I thought it would be cool to do it in Windows. And that template Windows was also missing from the starter template on the repo. So I thought, you know what, we'll do it, and then we'll be able to add those to the template. So help the community. So service plan, the details are here. Let's go through all the other module, and we'll then go up again to service plan and start digging individually. So after that, we do another module. It's storage. Like I told you, you need a storage because the code needs to sit somewhere. So I will refer to the core storage store account biceps. If you're wondering, like, Frank, you made it complex with the service plan, doing like core host, blah, blah, blah. Because when I did start, I did remember, maybe you missed it at the beginning of the stream, I was saying that you could do AZD init, and it will ask you, hey, do you want to use a template? You could start with like an empty template, like nothing. I use the starter template. The beauty of it is when you start creating your own template for your project, it comes with tons of resources in the folder here, infra and core and all those stuff. We have like kind of a lot of different resources, so you could pick what you need. What I did is after that, I cleaned that up just to keep what I needed. That's why I have that structure, and I thought it was a good idea to keep it. So if you're starting with the starter, you're having a look to this, at least match. So storage account, it's going to storage account biceps, so we'll go there. Again, scope, it's my resource group, the name, here the parameters are name, location, tags, mostly always the same. After that, I pass the log analytics. Okay, same thing again. Pass application insight, best practices because you want to know, you want to be able to debug, you want to have errors, you want to log stuff. So that's why I have log analytics and application insight. They're not required. You should have them because it's so useful. When I create the application insight, I pass the log analytics. Another beauty of biceps, here you could say, hey, log analytics output ID. So I could use object and pass different outputs and values and stuff. And I create my function. I will come back to this where that comes from, but it's really cool because you can create outputs. Here it will also create a dashboard name. Pretty nice. Azure function. So again, function. A lot of parameter. So the name, the location, app service plan ID. So see again, service plan outputs ID. And because I have the extension. Is it the extension? I think it's the extension. Let's go in the other corner. Azure service, Azure CLI function repo. Biceps, yeah. Because I have the biceps, I have all that intelligence. It's really great. Let me put that marketplace. So like it's an Visual Studio Code extension. It's magic. Let's put that into the note. Because it's great. You have the dot property, so it knows all the file and all the things, so it really helps. And if you're doing a typo, if it doesn't exist, you have the little red squiggly. So it's really cool. It's been a while since I dropped this. Woo! Let's close that, go back to the code. So yeah, that's why I have like all the intelligence in the project. Let's go back a little bit bigger. Okay, for this specific Azure function, I'm running .NET isolated, and I specify the extension version. So like that's pretty cool. See, like it tells you what should you use. It cannot be null. It's 1, 2, 3, or 4. They're working on 5. So like you can do this. The real sturdy bot landed. Excellent. Yeah, and again, things are different. So I did change what's provided in the template, the starter template, because I wanted an Azure function Windows. So there's some differences, and that's why I will do this. But after that, I will open a PR for the main repo to be able to do like a Linux or Windows. But I thought for today's stream, it would be easier to just like work on the window, like kind of like a smaller scope, just like work on that, explain how it works, make it clean, make it could look good, so we could have like a template just for this specific thing. Then you specify the storage because the code needs to sit somewhere. Like you're connecting everything because in the function app needs to have all those things. So kinds, it's a function app, tags, identity, pass through because a good security practices, and I'll probably update those eventually in a short term to use more managed identity. Yeah, because it is the best practices instead of using the connection string, but right now it's still use the connection string. Particularity of this template is I want to deploy the code using a zip deploy, so you need to have that app settings. That's why I'm passing it. Hey, app settings run from a package and it needs to be equal 1 because I'm on Windows. If it was Linux, it will be the URL here of the package. But not on Windows. On Windows, you need an extension, and that's the X module. And here I say depends on, because before creating the Azure function, the service plan, the storage, and the application insight needs to be created, because if you don't have the service plan, there's no resources to be allocated, so you won't be able to create. Code need to be somewhere. I said it multiple times. And application insight, well, you won't have the name if it's not created. You need the name, like when I say name, is like the real name, kind of a pat. And to be able to deploy, that didn't exist, so I created it. Well, like I put it together. I didn't invent anything. It's the extension, the site extension to deploy. So we'll go into all those. So I think that will be the stream today. Well, we'll understand how the biceps template work. So I create a name and I pass different functions. So here I pass the function name, because this zip extension is to really do the zip deploy. So it needs to be aware of like that Azure function. So you need to pass the Azure function, location of your Azure function to make sure you're identifying the good one. Then we're passing that package URI, right? And it depends on function app, because guess what? The function needs to be created before, like, you know, the infrastructure needs to be there before we can push the code and like uncompress it, right? So that's why it depends on function app. Because when you deploy stuff in Azure, we'll always try to do as many things as possible to make your deployment faster. So if you don't try to do that, we'll say, oh, I can do this little things as I'm deploying other things. And maybe the deployment will try to deploy your extension before the function exists. So that's why you need to specify it, so you're sure that your deployment will be successful. If you're not doing it, sometime it may pass, sometime don't. Who wants a deployment to fail, right? And here, because it's always useful, you can have outputs. So you specify, the way it works is output will be then displayed as an information. So you can put variable here and specify the type and the information. So you can say, hey, I want to see the tenant, I want to see this, I want to see like storage, account name. You could decide whatever you want. You could use this inside your biceps template, like before when I was saying, hey, application site output names, we'll see that in that module at the end I'm doing an output application name. That's why I can use it. And the beauty of it is you could have PostScript, and that's why earlier I was sharing in, I closed it, but in the AI sample I was sharing, let's change screen. I'm using a PostScript, so you could totally, like in your YAML file, you could have, I don't have the IntelliSense for that, but you could have a step that says post deployment step, something like that, and you say, hey, run that script, and it was like you can output the variables of your deployment, and I was like creating .NET secret for it, so like people didn't have to do that. It's kind of a nice touch. Okay, let's go up again. Yeah, let's go up. And let's go for our service plan module. I think it's a simple one, so it'll be cool. So here we see that it's in core host bicep. So if we look here in infra, this is where we had the main. In core, I'll have different folder. So now we need to go in host. Now I have like all those one here. It's tiny, right? So I have the app service, app settings, app service plan. That's where we want to go. I'll have the function biceps and the function site. Let's go in app service first. Maybe I should stay here. It's so big. It's so big. So here I put some metadata, so I explain what it does. Can I just, we'll wrap up the line here so you can see here like it's wrapping up. So I explain what this module does. So it created a service plan in an existing app service plan, meaning you need to have created that before. After that, I have a bunch of parameters. So I have the name, the location, the tags. I have the application insight, app service plan, the key vault, manage identity if it was true. Oh, I need to clean that up. It's not this. Yeah. That was one of the problems when I was looking into the template. It was all set up for Linux, and it was kind of like there's no way you could deploy one that is Windows. Oh, I think I can. Oh, the comment? No, I cleaned that up. Okay. Why this is? Because I was not sure. Microsoft website. Okay, so we passed the config. Remember, we were passing the service plan. Did I pick the good one? I'm not even at the app service. I was like, there's a lot of parameter. Okay, that makes more sense. Service plan. We were in the function app, and I was like, wow, that's way too much stuff. Okay, so here we pass the name, the location, and the SKU. The SKU is an object with a name and a tier. So here we're receiving the name, the location, the tag. SKU is an object. And I just plug those in the resource that is defined by Microsoft. And that's the difference when you're doing Windows or Linux. The SKU is the SKU in the properties. There is a little bit difference. So this is a service plan Windows. I think it should be the other way. It's a Windows service plan. I will have. So for us right now, like we want the smallest. Like we don't want fluff. So that's perfect. But I think in the template we'll have to do some kind of like, hey, if your Linux, do this. If your Windows, do that. That would be fun. Maybe next week if people love the bicep stuff. Yeah, so that's the service plan. So see, like it's pretty cool. It's pretty short. And then the output, I say service plan ID and service plan name, so I could use it in other resources. The second one was the storage account. So in storage, we have only one storage account. There's a lot of blah blahing there, but the same thing. So you could specify the auth. Yeah, I think auth is what I want. So storage account, you created. So you could specify in biceps what type of value you let people put. So here it's cold, auth, premium. And then and you can put a default value. So here is my parameter access tier. So that's why here I don't specify anything. I go with hot. Cold wouldn't be great for an Azure function. Premium would be great, but it will cost more. So hot is good enough. And like all the parameters, so like you could read more about what they do and everything. I just kind of like went with the default and the best practices, and then you create your resource, passing everything you need. Right? that's it. Just going, it's kind of always the same thing. I just want to go through all just to show some particularities. Log analytics, I don't think there's anything there specific. Let's go. There was here log analytics, same thing. I specified the retention for 30 days. I thought it was good enough. Nothing specific, so I could just take whatever param and create a resource. After that, it's app insight. Let's go in app insight. Again, description at the top, bunch of parameter. So here I create the app insight, and after that I call another module. So like everything is module, meaning you could call a module from a module from a module. So here I want to create a dashboard. Dashboard is a visual in the portal that just helps you to visualize. So I have all the little analytics information, the spike, the pie, and everything. So you see like the help of your function. Part of the best practices, I was like, I will keep it. So here it's calling another module, doing that. So like if we go right away in application insight module, same thing here. Just take the parameter and immediately call the resource. There's a little bit more properties and stuff, specifying everything. Like that one is really, really long. You could define everything you want. I didn't play much in the dashboard, so I just picked the default one, but we could customize it to have something a little bit more personal, but I feel like that's not me to do in the template. So that's why I took the default one, or the one that was provided in the starter template. If people want to customize it, they can. Okay, function app, because there was stuff in function app that I changed to make it work on Windows. So let's go in the function app. So that's where we were earlier. App service, right? No, function. Voilà. So in the function, see allowed again, I specified .NET, .NET Core, .NET Isolated, Node, Python, Java, PowerShell, custom, could be whatever you want. I think there's Rust now and a bunch of stuff also you can do. So you can specify those, allowed the settings. We saw that. So that's pretty cool with the extension. It reads your module and you could see it, the value before, and like the default right now is 4 because that's the latest. Here, I shouldn't say Linux because it's Windows, so we'll remove that. But when you do Linux, your kind need to be function app, comma, Linux. But we're doing Windows, so we don't need that. I think I was overriding it. So the default is Linux, but because I'm passing it, here you don't remember I had kind, and I say function app, so I'm overriding the default. So doing that, if I could remove the parameter, here I could remove the parameter and it will still work because it will use the default. In fact, I should. Yeah. Because I'm using this. App settings, so we'll pass the app settings, some properties, and then we'll define the function. So let's go through a few things because there are some stuff that are required. So name, location, tags, kind of legit. Application inside name, so application inside, that will be the name, kind of a long connection string. Same for app service, and then you go for your app settings. And here I say union because I will say, hey, those plus the one I will pass, because I pass app settings. Remember, I specify, for me it was really important to have the run from a package, That's one setting I want to include that are custom to like our case right now, but the function to be working needs those. So I say, hey, make a union of app setting, the parameter, with those. So I will create all those app settings. Azure function storage. So right now it is using a connection string. Because we're using identity, we could move to identity, but I think most people right now are using the connection string, so we'll leave it there. But I think we already have identity, so we could remove that. But anyway, but I think we wouldn't have to add another one. Anyway, so I kept it for like the majority right now, but I think eventually we should have something to make it, hey, use identity, because it's a little bit safer this way. Web content file connection string. So again, it's the same value as the previous one. Content share, you need to have that. Function extension version. So that's the -4. The function worker time. Right now for in this specific case, it will be the .NET isolated. I let those, I think I should, this I should hard code it. Because I don't think, I want to keep it there just in case in the future, let's say it's 5 or whatever. That I will last. The runtime, I want to keep it because you could be using this for like something that is not .NET and it won't work. But I think if it's Node, you need to put in the app settings a Node version. You don't need to do that if it's .NET. Or maybe you need if you're not isolated. So right now, because we're isolated, there's a few things. Anyway, in our case, that's what we need. Because we're running isolated. Key vault, that's because we are using identity and like a bunch of stuff are saved there. At the kind, that's now what we pass, manage identity, because we wanted, we said we are using a manage identity. We specify the storage. So here what we do, oh yeah, so to be able to say, where is it? Here, when we go create that storage and we build that connection string, we want to be dynamic, right? And specify, like kind of build that thing. So we need a reference to the storage. Instead of passing it in the parameter, that will be ugly, right? It's passing like a very long. So what you do is just pass the name of the storage. And after that, so because the name is kind of cute, right? So hey, use this storage and it's called my storage. It's easier to remember than default endpoint protocol, HTTP, you know, it's more friendly. So what you do instead to be able to have something dynamic in your template to say, hey, resource, and then you just say, it already exists. Is it high enough in my screen? It already exists, and it's called this. So now Biceps will grab that, and you will be able to use it. So that's pretty fancy. And then I do a bunch of outputs. Cool. So that's the Azure function. Like I said, this is for Windows Azure function. And then the last one I want to talk today is the zip deploy extension, the thing I put together was that module here. So again, create an app service extension zip deploy. You don't, do you need that for Linux? I think you don't need that for Linux, but for Windows, you need. And it's just the extension and you just say the name is zip deploy, and you specify property I'm getting tired. You specify a property called package URI and you pass this. So having that now, you will be able to deploy that very easily. Yeah, exact. This. So we don't need here the source for the template, but I want to show it as an example. So now that this is done, I will be able to. We should try it. But it will take more time than I have. So I will just push it and I will continue. Maybe later today I will join again the stream. But I think I may do it offline, unfortunately, because I really want to push that template and continue to work. But if you check that repo, let me share the URL again. Sorry, man, losing my voice. That's what I gotta do. Like, I don't know how Jeff is doing like so long stream. I will have no voice at the end. I don't know if you see that, Jeff. I don't know how you do that. So let me paste again in the chat. And should we raid someone? Where a few people's here. Who's streaming? Maybe we can triple B. Yeah, let's raid triple B. What do you think? Let's go see Mr. Oh, is he lurking now or is he working?
I don't know what I'm gonna eat today.
Yeah, he's chatting. Okay, so let's raid him. It will be fun. Where is it? Raid. I wanna raid. Oh, I cannot raid him? Yeah, I can. Cool. So I'll say, everybody, have a good weekend, have fun, and say hello to our friend Triple B. Bye.